Amen. Jesus Christ, of course, is King, Lord of Lords on this beautiful Sabbath day, December 6, 2025, and you are living in absolutely amazing times. As the US dollar and dollars worldwide, fiat collapses, and the US banks in particular prepare for runs in the United States ahead of the golden age reset of 2026. Please like and share. It is critical for your physical survival, critical as we saw in 2020 with the major panic all over the world, critical to your business, critical to your cash flows, critical to protecting your children and your churches, because folks, you are an absolute worldwide chaos, and I am General Greene here at the digital Noah's Ark, the golden Rolex of no bank debt assets that you own 100% true equity rights and living your investment outside of the banks. And I want you to understand that I've been doing this nearly 20 years because we've predicted the bank runs. I've been doing this nearly 20 years because we predicted the US fiat collapse. I've been doing this nearly 20 years because we predicted the lockdowns and the reset. And I've been doing this nearly 20 years because I predicted, advised, recommended, invested, and educated billions of people around the world to buy Bitcoin ahead of Harvard, MIT, your government, the too big to fail bailout scum elites, the black cucky rock, all your family and friends, and your shitty freaking financial advisor. Long before all of that. And not only have we been right, we have dominated and established 1776 and 2026, and the time to get prepared is now. Folks, brothers and sisters, Christian ballers, please do me a favor. I need your help. You can do this absolutely for free with a quick like. It's the tip of your tongue and the finger that you press to give a simple like and a share for eyeballs and ears that can still hear and listen. Again, not everybody understood Jesus' message, which is why he was executed by the deep state. The same people in charge today. Jesus and his disciples must and had to dust their feet many times and move to the next house to alert the people of what is coming and what is ahead. It is no different now. You tuning in are the watchmen, the great Christian, God-fearing, faith-first warriors, watch women and men on the tower, so to speak. And my hat is quite literally off to you all. And I love you all. And a Merry Christmas approaches. Remember, it's about God and it's about Jesus. It's not about presents. No, it's about Jesus Christ is King. Remember that. The world is the opposite of what we should spiritually be focused on. And understand that is our overriding fundamental mission here, especially at the Digital Noah's Ark, along with my beautiful team and all of our members and the freaking Diamond Nuts Senor. The Papa John. Mwah! Oh, the Papa John. Oh, the Papa John. Mwah! Mwah! Oh, you're welcome. And I love you all. But we're going to get into the itty-gritty details. Number one, BlackRock and the Wall Street scum, through massive manipulation techniques, are shaking out the American public and preparing for the Great Reset, as we have been warning for several years. Again, remember, these are the same scumbags that locked you in your house in 2020. Told you couldn't fly, you couldn't travel, told you your business and yourself and your family and your children were worthless. That the only people that could stay open and stay alive and prosper were the big box, too big to fail elites, right? Only Amazon could stay open. Nothing against my buddy Jeff Bezos. I love Jeff Bezos. He's my boy, Blue. Nothing against you. But again, we saw what happened. We saw how the system worldwide treated the peasants. So don't be surprised now that we're getting a big shakeout. Don't be surprised now that there's liquidity shocks. Don't be surprised the dollar is collapsing. There's no surprise that gold's broken new all-time records. I've literally sold hundreds of millions of dollars of gold throughout the years to y'all, making you rich, and sold you silver. I told you the dollar was dead, and I told you they were resetting the system, and I told you they were scamming you, and I told you they would lock you in your house, and I told you Bitcoin was the #1 investment in the world that would outperform everything and everyone you know, which is what it's done. For those of you that don't know, Bitcoin's outperformance this is a literal fact, is 10 billion plus percent since I recommended it at its inception, since the launch of the Genesis launch, 10 billion plus percent. Its average, well, it's somewhat debatable depending on what figures you're looking at, approaches about 200% a year gains since its inception on an annual basis. It's been the best investment in the world and still is the best investment in the world. So what's going on right now, and again, I'm a former Wall Street guy. This is how I got my start, exposing these scumbags, right? I quit my job at Merrill Lynch, top paying baller, quit, went rogue, went on camera and exposed these scum. I exposed these demonic, evil, blood-gurgling freaks. And I went online and created tens of thousands of videos and then built our own platforms along with you, and all glory to God who's in full control. And that's really the story of the origins of how this platform got started, because I saw what the criminal thugs did. I saw them rip you off in 2008 and 09. I saw them steal from the baby boomers. I saw their bullshit TARP funds that only enriched Jamie Cuck Diamond and others. We saw what they did, just like we have seen what they did in 2020. So keep in mind who you're tuned into here, folks, because we have been not just on target, but we have absolutely executed on every single recommendation, preparation, skill set, and tool, whether or not that's your physical survival, bug out bags, gold, silver, Bitcoin, crypto, now physical assets outside of the banks with no bank debt, full absolute sovereignty, freedom, liberty, control, decentralized and diversified. We've already pulled it off along with Papa John, 33.5 million freaking buckaroos out of the banks into physical assets, cash flowing, long-term capital gains, use based on your tiers, with 400 members around the world and 12 plus different nation states, soon $50 million plus with Deck 2 to be announced soon, then billions into the tokenization launch of 1776, which is the new 2026, which again, I coined that as well. You'll start to see people use that. People copy me. They copy up only, invented by me, registered trademark. They copy all of it, which is, flattery. They always copy the best in the world. Those that kick major ass. Those like you that break the paradigm. Those of you tuning in that do not comply. Never comply. Never taken a bailout. Never took a PPP loan. Took the government to F itself in 2020, even though I could have taken millions. Why did I not do it? Because I'm not scum. It's ethics. It's morality. And again, that would just be stealing from taxpayers, right? I mean, Lil Wayne got like 11 million to polish up his Learjet. Even cuck Nancy Pelosi took a PPP loan. And she's worth near $1 billion freaking dollars of worthless US fiat, which is invested in real assets because that's where the money is. So again, all this is a giant manipulation campaign. Larry Fink, who now admits he was wrong about Bitcoin and told you not to buy it. Even Donald Trump told you not to buy it. See, again, we don't need approval from politicians or the leadership or the supposed authority figures that get everything wrong, that want you in a little box, right? Want you to go to college and take on your debt, right? And then get out and fend for yourself, and you can't even find a job. Now they're replacing all y'all with robots and AI. So we know how this works. The agenda is in full roadmap stage now. The red carpet has been rolled out. And I'm going to, of course, tell you what no one else in the world will tell you. That's why you guys tune in. Again, we set the tone for the innovation. We're the ones that go viral like AIDS all across the internet. And I've been doing this for a very, very long time. Now look, if you're looking for something PC, you're a freaking cuck wanker, I encourage you to tune into CNN or even fake Fox News or MSNBC and get your information there. Because they'll have your ass locked in your house, they'll have you broke, they'll have you poor, they'll have you a freaking slave. And that's your choice. Again, freedom is very easy. You just declare it by noncompliance, peaceful disobedience and noncompliance. We saw this, of course, with MLK, who was, by the way, whacked by the government. We saw this with Malcolm X, also whacked. We saw this with JFK, whacked too. Unbelievable, isn't it? Who else has been whacked? Charlie Kirk, whacked. And we know who did it, right? Of course we do. So understand you're at freaking war. Not only do you got to get your cash flows up, you need to put money into real assets. You need to exit the banks before the bank runs and capital controls, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. We've had dozens of financial institutions fail in the United States recently. If you study any of this, as of course I do, and this is where I come from, you'll know, for example, FDIC insurance is completely bankrupt. They haven't even lifted the $250K minimum since 2020. I don't think they've done it since 2008 and 09. $250,000 is nothing nowadays. Nothing. Hyperinflation is here. Look at real property values, for example, and every American city has tripled since 2020. That's because it was an inside racketeering job by these devilish, demonic, blood-gurgling, vampiric freaks that sit at the top and tell you what to do. Lock yourself in your house, they say. Don't operate your business because the boogeyman might be lurking around the corner. Ooh, we're so freaking scared. Did you see all the scaredy cats in America in 2020? A bunch of flagrant, I could use a bad word but won't, pansies. I was going to use the P word, but I'll keep it PC. Again, folks, we're the digital cowboys. We're the real 1776 ballers. This ain't the fake freaking news. This is real life with real solutions with a real man who's dedicated his life to fighting back on your behalf, peacefully, ethically, morally, and building the future of freedom, completely decentralized with no bank debt that assures your very survival and success on so many levels. Best investment class in the world. Of course, I have to say I'm not a shitty financial advisor because your financial advisor is a cuck brokey and I'm rich. I drive Lambos and I have giant freaking Rolexes and a huge collection. We own mansions, all soon to be around the world for a reason, because we know what we're doing. We also reach 1 billion plus eyeballs on an annual basis across our freaking social media platforms, which we have done for nearly 20 years when everyone called it a scam. Mic drop. So again, let's get into what's really going on here. And I am fired up today. And I want you to understand, don't let fear control you, okay? Satan is of fear. That's why the government told you to lock yourself in your house like a freaking rat. That's why they told you you weren't going to make it. Remember what they said? Load up the body bags. Load up the body bags, they said. None of that happened. None of that happened. Because again, Satan wants to control you with fear. Just like they're controlling you with fear right now with AI. Well, if you don't adapt to the AI, you're going to get left behind, they say. Well, if you don't take that chip in your forehead and that Neuralink, you're going to get left behind. You won't make as much money. You won't get a good job. Yeah, you know, if we don't develop all the new AI replacing humans and someone else will, then big bad China will, and then nuclear war will hit. Again, I want to reemphasize that nothing going on in the chaos of the current world is a surprise at all. It tells us in the Bible, it's literally what we predicted, it's what we prepared for, and we literally built the solution and the ark during it. I want you to know what my expectations are. My expectations are complete chaos in the United States into the golden age. A massive wealth transfer, massive geopolitical conflicts and wars. I'm even expecting they're going to throw out an alien invasion, nuclear war. So don't get all, cozy and comfy and think it's going to be all piecemeal to you with dandelions and freaking lollipops, okay, and chocolate-covered sundaes, because that's not what the reset's going to look like. It's going to be absolute digital feudalism. It is going to be a massive surveillance police state takeover. It's going to be an eradication of you, and you're all getting fired by the deep state. Just like we've seen all the layoffs. Oh, they don't need you anymore. Look at that. How about them apples? Yeah, they got robots and machines and artificial intelligence and bots to replace you. Ain't that convenient? Oh, ChatGPT was just happened to be rolled out right after 2020. It was a miraculous new discovery that came right after the pre-planned inside job engineered lockdowns. Oh yeah, it was an accident. Yeah, just like my dog accidentally poops on the freaking floor. He knows it ain't an accident. He's looking me in the eye. How do you like that, General Greene? And then he wipes his ass across the floor. It ain't an accident. It comes with intent. And I love my dog. I have a really good dog. I like my dog. My dog's badass, you know? He challenges authority occasionally, right? I mean, keep it PC, but by the way, I don't even have a dog. I'm just kind of making a point there. Although I've had a lot of dogs, had a lot of great dogs in my life, and I had one in particular named Maggie, and she always used to do that. I'm like, Maggie, you have to wipe your ass across the whole floor. She just literally wipe her ass across the whole floor. I'm like, Maggie, come on. Please, for the love of you know what, do not wipe your butt on the floor. But she just loved to do it. It was her thing. And it's all good. We all have pets like that and dogs and stuff. Of course, we've seen like that happens. Like and share. By the way, I see 400 in the room. There should be at least 400 likes up. They don't want this information out to the American people. Otherwise, you'll get prepared. You'll be rich like me. You'll actually listen to what I'm saying, move your money out of the banks. That's the last thing Jamie Dimon, who's been funding the Epstein operations, would want at JP Morgan Chase over the last 2 decades, helping to fund over $1 billion into that trafficking network. I mean, the last thing the elites would want is to keep your business open and have any competition. God forbid somebody take out these large oligarchical companies that keep screwing you. God forbid. God forbid. So again, we've got some major events ahead of us. Let's go through these now, just as we titled this video today. Worldwide dollar collapse. Let's start there. So Japan is absolutely a shit show. An absolute freaking shit show. And I'm not going to be, I'm going to be just frank about it today. I'm sorry, guys. You need to understand you're living in a hyperinflationary spiral collapse right now. You have to understand that the yen carry trade is unraveling, and it's what Wall Street wants. You have to understand Black Cuck Rock is attempting to steal your real wealth, and they're actually doing it. And they're buying every single family house in America, and they hate your guts and told you Bitcoin was a scam. Now they're buying all of it and issuing ETFs. And, oh, Larry Fink was wrong, he says. I was just wrong about that Bitcoin. I told you all those years that only prostitutes and scum used it, but now I was wrong about it. And he's hanging out with the Coinbase CEO. Well, ain't that nice? Ain't that nice to have the same thug scum cozy up to the crypto industry, which is supposed to be about freedom and liberty and prosperity and decentralization and a trustless system and proof of work and all this stuff. See how these scumbags orchestrated all this? Again, you have to understand the internet was DARPA. It was seeded by DARPA. Then it was open sourced by creative individuals, entrepreneurs around the world. It blew up. It was completely decentralized and free. There was IRC chats, bulletin board services, small independent websites. Then what do the thug elites do? They consolidate all of it. They put you in digital silos. There's like 4 companies that control all of it, right? Then they screw all of you. Then there's no real truth or information out. They screw with all the algorithms and crap. They're doing the same thing in crypto now. And the origins were very similar. It's how I knew about it. Again, do the exact opposite of the scum elite. Do the exact opposite of what these people say. Do the exact opposite of your broke friends and family. Do the exact opposite of what they teach at college. Do the exact opposite of almost every person you know, unless they're living the life, they have the tools, and they can show and lead by example that they actually have what you want. This can be spiritual. This can be relational, your relationships. It comes in terms of your money and your cash flows and your wealth and your legacy. And those are the things that are most important. And building incredible families, having a lot of babies, right? So we can continue to go to war with these scumbags and then homeschool your kids, teach them about Jesus, teach them to arm up 1776, exercise that Second Amendment, form your well-regulated militias, and get ready. And stock up on food and water and organize and stop being a wanker. Again, all of your power comes from peaceful, non-negotiable, Non-compliance. And the biggest movements and the greatest change that has ever taken effect has simply been that. Whether or not it's exiting the banks now, coming into deck 2 of one of my lucky 100 investors, my current 400 investors, getting into that, whether or not it's buying a little Bitcoin or just exiting the banks, putting your money into something you have sovereignty and control over, whether or not it's voting with your wallets or voting with your kids' education by pulling them from school and taking personal responsibility for their lives, whether or not it's you're starting a business or getting your cash flows up or whatever it is, asking for a raise, excelling in your job or career, whatever it may be. It all comes down to personal responsibility. And the reason why we have a lost generation today is because the youth, I'm not, knocking any of you tuning in, but a lot of the people we see in the world, they're dependent. They feel that they're owed something. They think the world is fair. They think it's a fair place. The world has never been fair, okay? It's always been designed with kings and peasants. What don't you understand? Kings, peasant class. It's the same thing in America today, which is why the wealth transfer is occurring, why hyperinflation is a straight vertical parabola, why your local real estate markets have tripled since 2020, while these thugs banged you with their bailouts and TARP, okay, and their PPPs, and their printing of debt and currency, and all that money, and the money supply going vertical in 2020. And to a large extent, both political parties have been responsible for that. It's not like Trump's going to do anything different. I love Trump, MAGA, 1776. But again, unless he closes down and shuts down the Federal Reserve, you're just going to get more hyperinflation. And you're going to become poorer and more broke unless you get out of the system. And most importantly, you get out of the mindset of their psychological control. So the Bank of Japan is facing massive bailouts, policy dilemmas, as bond yields continue to skyrocket. For those of you that don't understand, the Wall Street thugs like BlackRock borrow cheap yen. They borrow it because it's cheap, right? It's at a lower rate. They bring it to the United States and then they pump up all of their equities, repurchase all their shares and stuff. It's just a scam. Buffett does it too, right? And then it increases their fake paper wealth and they keep borrowing from lesser nations. I love Japan. Japan's a great nation, but the point is they're borrowing the cheap currency. Now that the rates are going up, BlackRock and the thugs have to pay back their debt and their loans, which then creates a liquidity event. But you have to understand, all of this is engineered. It's not an accident that the crypto market's being shaken out right now and they're attempting to steal your bags. Like, how are you surprised? It's unbelievable. And notice that everyone that's calling for lower lows in Bitcoin, they're not investors, they're leverage traders. It's a key point and a key takeaway. The people knocking Bitcoin right now, the most prevalent voices supposedly online, on X, the haters, Bitcoin's going lower, much lower, and it could. Buy more of it then. DCA, hold your portfolio. Continue to stay diversified. Dollar cost average, hold it long term. You're going to be freaking rich. It's that easy. But the point being is the people calling for those lows, number one, are typically faceless. They live behind a meme or an alias or an AI. They never show their face because they're weak little bitches. Okay, we see a lot of people like on the internet like that. And in addition to that, they're leverage traders. Leverage trading, I've never recommended. I've always said use no margin, no debt, don't do any leverage. You'll get destroyed, which you've seen in recent weeks. If you've traded any leverage, you've been absolutely probably wrecked, which is why I've never recommended. And we don't have any bank debt in our real asset portfolio either because we've prepared for collapse. We already know what the elite scum are going to do, just like I already knew what the elite scum would do with Bitcoin. Tell you it was fake, tell you it was a scam, then they were going to go and steal all of it, buy it all up, and sell it to you, scum. Not you, but from their eyes, from their perspective. I was right about that, wasn't I? Remember all of you told me, Bitcoin will be banned by the government. I said, no, it won't. It is the government. They'll take all of it over and they'll be selling it to you above 100K. And what are they doing now? Exactly what I said. People are putting Bitcoin logos on their Learjets and their yachts and on their Lambos and on their Rolexes now. It is Wall Street now, the tokenization of everything now. And that's what the plan always was. That's where we were always going. You were just conned. And it's why if you listen to those scum, you're broke. And if you listen to me, I've made more millionaires over the last 20 years, I think probably than anyone in the world. I literally reach millions and millions of eyeballs every single day. And if you took my advice, I have to say not financial advice, but you took it, actually did what I said. You organized a well-diversified portfolio with no bank debt, and you dollar cost average, and you bought when I first said, and you continue to buy, and you do that now, you're rich. Because again, the price of Bitcoin's up 10 billion plus percent at a regular annualized return of about 100% or 200%, nearly 200% every single year since inception, outperforming hedge funds, even outperforming real estate, outperforming private equity, outperforming stocks, and crappy bonds worth nothing, not even worth the paper it's printed on, which is why they're getting rid of it, and they've eradicated and deleted pennies, and they're soon going to eradicate and delete nickels, and then they're going to get rid of quarters, and then they're going to get rid of your dollar bill, they're going to get rid of your $5 bill, and it's all going to be digitized. Why? For surveillance, mass tyranny, massive corruption. That way they can just grab your money, right? This is why you want to get out of the banks and decentralized. Imagine in the future you get a bill, right? And they can just seize it straight from the account instantly without a fight, without any recourse. You won't even be able to raise your hand. It'll just be like, sorry, they've already determined that they hold your asset. This is why we own private assets outside of the banks. We control with our sovereignty, freedom, and liberty. And again, understand you are at war, okay? You are at absolute war. And that's where we are today. So that's all that's been going on. This is just the takeover. They're rolling it out. It's a red carpet. Isn't it nice? Everything I said has happened. Everything we predicted has come true. Predicted the Ukraine war. Predicted its piecemealing. Told you Donald Trump years ago would waltz in with the art of the peace deal and it'd be split up like North Korea. That Putin actually won. I told you what they were doing with the money overseas, how it was feeding into the Bidens and the Obamas and the rest of them that started the war. I told you exactly what was going to happen. Predicted the attack on Iran nuclear proliferation sites accurately. Days, weeks, and months and ahead. Told you why Donald Trump is militarizing America with the National Guard. Because they're getting ready for the next series of events. Control the peasants as the wealth is transferred and people start to get pissed off. And God forbid, I'm not promoting it, but take to the streets. Okay, they're going to need people in place to kind of get things organized. Do you understand? This ain't going to be a peaceful transition when you rip off 99% of the American people, make them poor, and make them broke scum, while the billionaire elite siphon off all the money to themselves because they're the only essential ones. And of course, they're the only ones that get TARP. They're the only ones that get the bailouts. They're the only ones that get the special little treatment, the little titty twisters, and you get zero and nothing. I mean, am I wrong? No, of course not. I'm right. I just tell you the hardcore truth. I tell you it hard-hitting and in your face, we ain't PC. This is alternative media television. And again, if you want to be a dip crap cuck, go tune in to CNN and Anderson Cooper. Go tune in to Cooper. Yeah, he'll be there. Hi, guys. Welcome to CNN. This is the fake news. I just put a little bit of makeup on. I'm reading a teleprompter. I'm overpaid and I'm a cuck. But of course, with Project Mockingbird, the U.S. government controls and funds all the mainstream media. That's why Tucker Carlson and others are now supposedly podcasters, because they just took the same people, put them into a podcast. See, oh, now it's alternative. Of course it's not. It's a takeover. It's co-opting. It's bullcrap. Psychological warfare. They're spraying your skies. They're going to introduce a fake Project Bluebeam. They're telling you alien UFOs are real now. They're going to destroy your currency. They told you Bitcoin was a scam. Now they're telling you to embrace all of it as they shake you out. Notice that. Buying it cheap. Okay? Everything they say is a lie. Do the opposite of what they freaking say. Every single time. Every single time. So you are at war. Now let's continue. The banks are preparing for runs. They will be setting you up into a stablecoin network system. That's how the UBI will be paid. X, although Elon Musk has done some great things, I commend him for that. He's the freest of platforms. I do believe Musk is an extremely talented individual. Those are all things we can appreciate, but we also know what he's doing. He got a stamp of approval to take over Twitter. You can't just do that as an independent person. You need the approval of board of directors. You need the approval of governments. You need the approval of DARPA to do all those things. You don't just go in and waltz and do that just because you have the money. No, it gets approved by the deep state. Now he's turning it into a full circular payment platform like they have over in China, where everything, your UBI will be paid from it. You can buy your investments through it. All of your media is there. All of your news, your Neuralink chips will be hooked up to it. You'll be micro-programmed into it biologically, intrinsically, through your body, all of it. And that's the plan. Again, they put these people out there to bring you into the new system, to usher it in, okay? And then they create a vacuum on both sides, Republican and Democrat. They tell you lies, like I told you was a lie. You didn't like when I said it. I told you Elon Musk wouldn't save you a freaking dime. Remember with the Doge? Oh, they're gonna save all the money and clean up all the debt. I told you that was bullshit. And you hated me on that. I said they wouldn't save a freaking penny. Not a worthless, deleted out of circulation penny. I said the debt would go up. You remember when he was waltzing in, they really meant business. You remember that? Rolling in there, they're gonna clean house and fire people and they're gonna pay down the debt. Did any of that happen? No. 4 trillion more worthless scum dollars were printed from your bank accounts and stolen from your taxpayer dollars in the coming months later. Exactly what I said. So pay attention to what I say now. So where are we headed? We're going to get into the news here in a minute, but I do want to say I love all you guys. God bless you. This comes from a pure heart of passion. Also a heart of courage, knowing that we are all at war, knowing that what we do today actually matters, knowing that you're going to have to actually fight. I want you to understand this. If you want to get ahead, you're actually going to have to fight. Be peaceful, don't comply, just simply say no. That's the way to do it. But understand, you have to fight for everything. You're going to fight for a job. You're going to fight for your career. You're going to fight for the pretty girl. You're going to fight for your relationships, your family, your salvation. You got to fight for, salvation's given us for free. That's the only free gift. So thank God we have that. Thank God we have Christ. But the other things you have to fight for, right? You're going to have to fight for it. You have to understand that. You're not owed anything. Life ain't fair. There's a bunch of kings, and they're turning it into a digitally feudal-based system next. And they're going to put your ass on UBI. And they're going to pay you something like $2,000 a month. And guess where that money is going to go? Back into the system to pay for your robots, to pay for your use credits into the AI that you're going to need. And it's just one big circular jumble F that goes right back to the same kings and queens that actually own all y'all. And that's the truth. I mean, again, guys, we've thought it all through. Our blockchain technology, not launched yet, has a mechanism and a slight inflation rate. It's a fixed slight inflation rate. And guess what it does? Pays all those hefty taxes and insurance and property tax values that only go up because the government just tells you whatever they think, right? We're just going to take more. Eminent domain, they say. I mean, again, those in charge and in power make and dictate the rules. What don't you understand? It is a dictatorship. What don't you understand? That's what it is. Okay? The late, my friend, McAfee knew this. He's still alive, by the way. God bless him. So what else is in the news? Well, they're attempting to replace Hegseth. Okay, so there's an attempted coup there. Of course, we had radical cuck leftist Democrats attempt a coup themselves just a couple of weeks ago, said to not obey the president and not to obey the authority figures in our military and our generals and our advisors, told actually like the Army and the Navy and all of our people that serve to disobey military orders. So there was that what was going on. And all that's happening now, again, is one big consolidation, a consolidation everywhere, a consolidation in media. Oh, Netflix gets even bigger now. It's going to buy Warner Brothers. Just one big monopolistic oligopoly bullcrap fiesta. I did think it was funny, and I'm calling Trump out on this. You know I love Trump. Trump's amazing, but I'm calling him out. Did you see his True Social post? He's like, I'm going to give everybody tiny cars. What? Tiny cars? Go take a hike. Well, we don't want your tiny cars. The thing that's been great about America is big. Everything's big in America. You see Donald Trump riding around in a tiny little car, a little clown car, a little tiny car from these other nations? No. You see him rolling around in big yachts, big mansions, big towers. He drives a freaking beast with a freaking team. America is big trucks, big land, big banks, big Wall Street, big tits. The list goes on and on. Big media, big Hollywood. Like, am I missing anything? I'm just speaking the truth, okay? Everything that makes America great is big. But notice the elites, what do they want for you? Tiny houses. Yeah, go live in a box and they'll still sell it to you for $200K. Tiny houses, little dinky freaking worthless trash heap cars, put you into a little self-driving car so it drives you straight off that mountain, right? Locks your doors, right? Takes control over your life. They want you in everything tiny. The elites have nothing tiny. Jeff Bezos owns one of the largest yachts in the world. They own 20 freaking mansions, mega estates. They own freaking 40 cars, 50 yachts, 20 Learjets, but they want you in a tiny little peepee. You see that? It reminds me of the movie Team America, F yeah, right? Like the theme song, it's very politically incorrect, but it's like, America, F yeah, fake tits, blah, blah, big cars, etc. And again, that is what makes America great. We don't want anything tiny, but now they got to con you. After selling you on big all these years, notice they're transitioning into, you're going to have to sacrifice. I'm sorry, but due to the climate, you're going to need a tiny car. Oh, there's a affordability problem that we caused because we ripped all of you off in 2008, 09, and 2020. So we think tiny homes might be a good option for you. Notice how they're flipping the script because you were conned. The same thing about Bitcoin. Oh, don't buy that Bitcoin. It's only for drug dealers and prostitutes. It's going to be banned by the government, said Larry Fink. Now it's like, I was wrong about that Bitcoin. I think it's actually a fantastic investment. And we'll be taking over everything with tokenized. And it's amazing the American people haven't resisted in full force yet. Again, I've resisted. The revolution won't be televised. I was a man in the streets with a megaphone, leading armies of thousands of people throughout Hawaii, calling for things I can't even say here during the lockdowns, organizing with my real Christian baller freaking ballers, organizing our well-regulateds, fighting back, telling people straight up, we ain't shutting down at all, or we're gonna have a problem. You understand 1776? You understand the Second Amendment? Because we ain't standing down. Okay, and when you tell us we can't feed our families, we're going to have a problem because we draw a line in the friggin' sand. Oh yeah, we'll still travel and we'll still go to the beach as I did, and I'm going to pop open a freaking Corona and watch that sunset while all the scaredy cats stay in their houses. That's what they did, didn't they? You remember that fear-mongering in 2020? You remember people were so scared? Oh, so scary. Hate to see your ass on the battlefield along with my brothers that lost many other lives. Hate to see you step on an IED. Hate to see you have your body sawed off like my brother Cody did before he was whacked by cancer with terminal 4 freaking illness and had a staple gun, put his ass back together and cut his ball off and his left nut. Hate for you to go through anything too traumatic, but it was scary because they shut down sports. Oh my gosh! The rigged sporting organizations here in the United States, rigged, literally rigged. That's all come out. The NBA's fake. It literally came out. Even what I like to watch, the wrestling, UFC fighting, which is awesome. Even that's been rigged. All of it's rigged. And that's all the elites needed to do to get those little peasants' attention. That's all they had to do. They just sat back with their little champagne, their little pates, and they're like, you know what, let's just close sports down. That'll get these cucks' attention. Let's close down the gladiator games for a couple of months. Yeah, let's tell them there's going to be a lot of body bags. Let's make an example of them. Remember what we saw in Australia with the gross, outright destructive tyranny? Remember what we saw, how the Canada truckers, real men and women, were treated by their Canadian cuckery in 2020? Yeah, didn't have much freedom. And notice in the countries that came with the most tyranny, what did they do to that one tennis star? Remember, he stood up to it because he's a real diamond nut man. And everyone else that went along with it ain't. And that's the truth. What's his name? I can't say his name. He's got that crazy last name. But notice all of that. Notice the fear and oh my gosh. But in the places it was the worst, what didn't they have? Oh, I think you know what they didn't have. It's what we got here in the West. Yeah, that's right. Oh, the elites probably don't like that part of the Constitution, do you? Yeah, it's because our founding fathers gave us that right for a reason. Be peaceful and stay peaceful. But again, arm up spiritually in your life, physically. Take your rights. Invest in the right investments. Vote with your wallets. Withdraw your money from the banks that did business with Jeffrey Epstein, like JP Morgan Chase. That's an absolute fact that even Donald Trump is investigating right now. Notice we're not getting any more information on that. Because again, you're not going to get any information on that. You've been conned. What part of this do people not understand? What you think you live in a fair world. You think you live in a fair society. Oh yeah, just do what you're told. Oh, work harder, they say. The elites don't work any harder. They work smarter. Their money makes money while they sleep. Okay? This is Elon Musk supposedly runs like 40 companies, in charge of like 40 companies. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. You can't, that's not even humanly possible. That guy podcasts more than me, and he allegedly runs 40 multi-billion-dollar companies. No way. Deep state, sorry to say it, deep state. What part of this con that you grew up in don't you freaking understand? And that's my point. So what do they have coming? Let's close here. And again, you guys know what to do. And I encourage you to reach out to Papa John, my father, at 808-442-2934, like your life depends on it, because it truly does. Reach out to Papa John. Text him at 808-442-2934. And RSVP for Deck 2. Also want to do a quick shout out, if I can find her. Jessica, you know who you are. I spoke with you about a week ago. Okay, and I did confirm that with my father. I'm just letting you know live on camera here. Again, always contact us directly, 808-442-2934. Wonderful woman, Australia, I believe. I remember correctly. She's coming in. She's RSVP'd for our 200K minimum. She's an amazing woman, and she's a referral from one of our other outstanding members as a part of the Island Project Fund 1 founding round. So Jessica, I just wanted to do a brief shout out. Thank you for your RSVP into Deck 2, and I really enjoyed our conversation and up only. God bless you. I hope you're having a beautiful day, as I know you tune in very, very frequently. So folks, we know where this is going. We know there's going to be chaos. We know the golden age is guaranteed. We know the dollar is dead, and they're going to steal all your freedom unless you fight back peacefully. We know fiat's being replaced. We know that they're going to use gold reserves and silver reserves, okay, allegedly whatever the U.S. has, and they're going to even use oil and other commodities to do what? Buy net neutral Bitcoin and crypto. And it's not just Bitcoin, it's a tokenization of everything, which is why you need to hold a diversified portfolio with no bank debt. Everything's being tokenized. Everything's being road mapped out. And, you know, this reminds me, even my father will tell you this, speak to him about it. But I remember telling my dad, I've always been really good in tech, right? I sold the Google IPO in the Dutch auction to accredited investors when I was working at Merrill Lynch. I was turned down by most people. Most everyone I approached said it was a scam, said that Google stock would make no money, said that algorithms were stupid and they didn't understand what an algorithm was. The same bull crap I hear about Bitcoin today. And I remember even having a conversation with my dad telling him, you know, about Google. I've told him about other companies like Tesla, although I don't like Teslas at all. I think they suck. I'll never get into a self-driving car. I think Teslas look like crap. And I think the freaking whatever Cybercuck truck looks like a tin can box sardine can. I could come up with a better design out of my butt in half an hour. This afternoon, I could generate something better that looked more clever and more interesting. And again, I will never give my sovereignty to some freaking machine. Have you ever seen Terminator 2, for crying out loud? They already told you where this stuff is headed. But the point is, I remember telling even my own father, not to mention my clients, because I was managing many high net worth accounts at the time, and telling them all about these companies, and you get the same responses. Oh, it's gone too parabolic already, it's over. Amazon. I remember telling people about Amazon, buy Amazon. Oh, we don't understand. It's gone too parabolic. And then years later, it like just takes over the entire world, pulls multiple next 1000x rounds. And that's the point I'm making, the stage we are at with Bitcoin and crypto and tokenization today. At this point, everyone's heard about it. Okay, you all know what it is. You've heard of it, the marketing campaigns. Larry Stink is telling you about it, a black cuck rock. Okay, you've heard about it. It's out there. It's known. CNBC's talking about it, but you're still underestimating what's about to happen. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Your faces will be ripped off and destroyed. You will be decapitated by the deep state elites. They are going to send these assets to such high records, you will be literally exterminated in the coming years. You will have no real wealth, no real freedom, no liberty. You will have no hope, and you will live in a totalitarian police state unless you listen to what I'm saying. You must exit the banks now and get into the right investments and make those moves, because your life, your financial life, your physical life, your spiritual life, your relationship life, and just the fact, guys, to honor God, you've got to be passion-filled. You got to have love in your heart. You've got to make disciples, and you've got a purpose. Understand, a lot of people get focused on money. Money is not the goal. Money follows innovation. Money follows solutions. If you're focused on just making money, you probably won't make that much. You might be able to pick up your first $1 million or something like that, but nothing major. When you focus on solutions, purpose, there's a reason why you get up in the morning. I don't have to get up in the morning. If I wanted to just retire right now, do nothing, manage into perpetuity, Island Project Fund 1, and my host of hundreds of millions of dollars of investments that I currently have across crypto and other assets and personal investments that I own, I have to do nothing for the rest of my life. I could sit on my ass with a Mai Tai, never come on camera again, and I could just ingratiate myself in hubris and whatever else is, sail around in yachts and wax my nuts full time. But the question you have to ask yourself is, why don't I do that? Because again, purpose is more important. Purpose is more important for my father. Purpose and hope and love and passion-driven life is more important. You're not taking any of this stuff with you. Right? You want to leave a legacy to your kids. You want to pass on knowledge, teach them how to fish, how to start business, how to stand up for themselves. You want to educate them out of the system. You want them to know that there's only male and female. I know the world thinks a little bit differently about that, but we don't. We go by the Bible. You want them to question what they're being told. You want them to critically think for themselves. You want to show them that you're a leader and you're an example. You want to inspire other people. You want to innovate. You want to be a ripple that turns into the tidal wave. You want to honor God. So when you go and enter through the heavens above, through the second coming, up only, he says, good job, son, or good job, daughter. You did it. You manned up. You womaned up. You're not perfect. We're all sinners, but you want to hear a work well done. You want to bring people to Christ. You want to show them. You want to manufacture through the Spirit of God the power to change the world, which we've already done. Again, if I would have told you years ago Bitcoin would have taken over the entire world, social media would be the #1 way to make money, that e-commerce and the internet would dominate everything, and then AI and robots would take over all of your lives, and you'd be locked in your house like a bitch in 2020, you would have told me I was insane. Now, by the way, I did tell you all those things were going to happen, and all of them have happened. And so what's coming next, the projection of the roadmap of the elites still in power. Notice it's all the same people still in power. Nothing's changed. There's no consequences. All the elites and the bailout thugs got away with it. They all won. Nancy Pelosi and others are sailing off on their yachts. She's outperformed hedge funds her entire political career. She's been investing behind your back, knowing the laws and regulations and legislation coming out before the American public. Just like in 2020, all the Washington insiders sold all their stocks and pounded you up the rear. You remember that? There's been no consequences, none. And all the same people are still in power, guys, all of them. None of them have been thrown out. There's been no Nuremberg, like I told you there never would be. There's been no trials. And most of all these people are still in power, every single last one of them. And the people cloaked behind the smoking room that you don't even know their names because the real powerful figures don't show their face are all still in power. So understand that the only way you'll take your power back is by exiting the system, joining like minds like us, forming solutions, building solutions in the real world, not just digitally. Island Project is a real world physical asset innovation. It's tangible. When you state a property, you can actually use it. You can enjoy it. It's got a roof over your head. Okay, it generates cash flows. It has rents. It has large capital gains. Over a 7 to 10 year period, real estate only goes up. Tripled in 2020 with the inflation they've got coming, it'll triple again. You've got to bring it to the real world. If all you're doing is tuning into Tucker Carlson's latest podcast, which nothing against Tucker, he's an awesome guy that comes from the mainstream media. That's not going to change anything. Okay, if all you're doing is flipping through Netflix to the next show, that's not going to do anything. If all you're doing is voting, which is all rigged, which is what Donald Trump says, it's rigged. It's all rigged and the election was stolen allegedly, right? That's not going to do anything. Because again, it's fake and it's rigged. So again, that's how you lose. You win in the real world. I teach my kids this too. I tell them to be relentless. I tell them no matter what you do, you never quit. If you're, for example, a window washer, you show up and you are persistent and you ask for the business until you win the business. No matter what you do, you are relentless. You are freaking relentless. I've even showed you that, all glory to God, over the last 10,000 plus videos that I've produced. I've been producing content so long, I've grown into kind of middle age. I'm 44 freaking years old, non-compliant and sexy as F. You know what I'm talking about. I've literally been doing it that long, relentlessly, against all adversity. I told you these cuck liar psychopaths were wrong about Bitcoin. I told you Donald Trump was wrong about Bitcoin. I've been relentless. And I'm telling most of you are still wrong about what's going to happen next. Now, I love you. I'm preaching to the choir here. But understand that understand the key to success is a relentless 1000x mindset. It is a guerrilla warfare type mindset. It is knowing that time is short. Just like my brother had half his balls and his back and his hip all blown off and sawed right in half. That's what the physicians did to him. They sawed half of his body and they staple gunned his ass back together. Had to kind of close his butthole back up. I'm not even freaking joking. Okay, time is short. So for those of you living a life of do-overs, which is never too late to start again, you're never too old. You can change everything and do it today with a decision by RSVPing with Papa John right now, getting your money out of the banks, buying Bitcoin, forming solutions, going to church, reading the Bible. You can all do that. But understand that time, at least here on this planet, is finite. If you're playing for the fact, well, I'm going to be really conservative because I really want to go big when I'm 84. Yeah, like I hear people say this all the time. Well, later on I'll take that European vacation. I'm finally going to go to Hawaii when I'm 90. When I'm dead, when I'm on a walker, when I'm crapping my pants, and my wife left me or she's dead because she got cancer. Like again, if you're waiting around, this is the beauty of living your investment here at the Island Project. Why would you have your money with Jamie Dimon, who funded trafficking of Jeffrey Epstein, when you could have your money with Christians and you could actually live it in your best life? There's no competition. Why would you have your money in a crappy stock, okay, of BlackRock or an ETF with excessive fees that you get no use out of at all, when you could have it in this and stay at our world-class diversified portfolio properties you couldn't normally own on your own because they're all $5, $10 million plus, $15 million plus in some cases, and you have true ownership and diversity of the asset class. Why would you buy your own single investment property when you could have a diversified platform that diminishes all the risks? It's professionally managed by ballers like myself and Papa John with experience. When you just want to take away that freaking headache, when you actually want to get some enjoyment and impress your wife and say, honey, instead of having our money in a bond, which isn't making anything and which sucks balls, or in a worthless treasury, or in the bank, check it out. We're hanging out in a penthouse and we're getting a good suntan. Don't you actually want to bake in memories with your kids and your family? As a grandparent, don't you want to live a Christian legacy to your freaking kids and grandkids? I know I do. That's why I fight so hard. It's not for me, it's for them. I have a lot of children. I don't personally talk about it. I have a wonderful wife. She is my soulmate. She's pretty much the only person that ever believed in me since I started all of this from the very beginning. And my wife is extremely smart. I mean, she's the genius behind a lot of this too. For every great man is an amazing wife. And we have a lot of children. And as you know, I've been public about my daughter, Faith. She's got special needs. She's going to need to be taken care of for the rest of our life. I don't fight for myself. See, a lot of you misjudge me and you think it's just about the Lambos or just about the Rolexes or the mansions or whatever. And that's not what I'm about at all. Those are things I've actually never really had a focus on. It's been solutions and tools, and everything just follows like a freaking tidal wave. And that's honestly the secret to success. You outwork everyone you know. You be incredibly relentless. You buy these dippity dips when no one wants them. You do the opposite of fear. There's two big events in my life that were fear moments. One was my daughter, Faith, which all the doctors told us to abort. They told us we were wrong to take it full term. They told us she would die. And they told us the most horrible nightmare scenarios. All they pitched was fear. We did the opposite. We chose love, faith, and grace and said, you know what? They're telling us this is terrible. We're going to you, God. We don't hear any of that. Faith, God first, faith first. She comes out, beautiful little darling. She is perfect in every single way. Successfully completes heart surgery, blows out all the expectations of everybody that told us just to be in fear. And the biggest regrets of your life will be decisions you make on fear and not out of love. The second was, probably 2020. What did they tell you? Comply or else. Comply or get the body bags out, they told you. The aggressive fear mongering from almost everyone you knew. Family members cutting you off, telling you can't even go to Thanksgiving. I mean, just unbelievable. The fear. And if you choose fear, it'll be the biggest regret in your life. There's been many moments like this as well. I think my brother went through it too when he was diagnosed with terminal illness, and I'll cut here before the hour is out. But, they told him to choose fear, or no, he chose love. He chose to fight. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to get out. If he could just eke out an extra couple of years, it was worth it to him. He chose to have his whole body sawed in half and his butthole fucking sewed back together, I'm sorry, and the whole other crap of it. And I'm sorry to use coarse language there, but I'm just speaking from the heart right now, so that came out naturally. He chose that. He chose to not accept fear and go towards faith, love, and hope. So I'm telling you straight up, you have a choice now. You have a choice to listen to these thugs that have been wrong about everything, that have stolen all of your freedom, that have ripped you off, who have locked you in your houses, who have bailed themselves out into infinity, destroyed your currency, your way of life, and are now eradicating the entire middle class into surveillance, AI, tech-driven police state. And these scumbags that own all the real assets, real resources, yachts, mansions, Learjets, tell you to live in tiny-ass houses and tiny little bitch cars. You have a choice to comply to their fear-mongering, or you have a choice to fight back with me peacefully and join the freaking real resistance and revolution and live a life worth meaning. Live a life actually that stands for something. Every single day I get up and I am reminded unconsciously, subconsciously about my brother and the war that he had to fight every single day. Every day was a freaking war. A war, the amount of pain that he was in. If you wake up and you have an opportunity, you've already won. Somebody's praying for what you already have. I mean, the amount of pain my brother was on was at an insurmountable level that almost killed him. Levels and thresholds because they cut out part of his back and other parts of his spine and things like that. I mean, he was in so much incredible pain. I don't even know how he did it, and I know the only way he was able to do it was through God. And through God healing them through that process. And so we all have the same choice. People need to stop complaining. You need to get organized. You need to focus on solutions, and you need to grow some freaking diamond nuts and have some balls in your life. And I've got these members all across the world, and you know who you are. The men and the women that have invested with us and my father are the best people in the world, and I work my ass off for you every single day. I will continue to fight, life and limb, if necessary, like my brother did. And we will fight every single day. And this is why my father leads and fights every single day. My dad has met with hundreds of investors personally over the last several years on a one-to-one basis, along with me in many instances, but he does most of that. Do you know how much time and diligence and dedication, in addition to all the other management and all the other innovation, that they don't want? Do you think the deep state wants you to get rich? You think the deep state wants competition? You think they want competition from people like us, Christian ballers that go all in, that won't stand down? You think Black Cuck Larry Stinkball freaking Cuck Rock wants competition from normal people? Of course they don't. You think they want you to own democratized assets that they're trying to keep for themselves? Do you think they want you buying land that they're attempting to just take it all out and basically monopolize all of it? Of course not. All of this stuff is carefully designed and carefully controlled by the system, from your education to everything else, to enslave you. And that's all that it's ever been. And so if you want something better, you want something freer, and you want to focus on hope and liberty and love and freedom, you'll join us. I love you all. Jesus Christ is King. You are amazing. You are all amazing, and I love you. And thank you for tuning in, and please like and share this video. Follow me on AMTV Media, Facebook, and Rumble, and of course also here on YouTube. I appreciate you. I love you. Have a wonderful day. It's going to be a great 2026. But again, if you choose fear, you're not going to make it. You choose love and walk through the valley of the shadow of death with Christ and let his eyes see for you, you will win. And we're taking you to the freaking mountaintop, 1,000 freaking X up only, because God's got this. And he's built the ark. I love you.